And we are back on The Rodriguez Show, and we have our only guest for this episode. You saw her at the Love Shack in February, and she's here at the studio now. This is HAUS SNOB.
Hey. Thank you for having me.
Of course, thanks for being here.
You guys are fam. Anytime.
So like I said, before we get to that, let's plug everything right away. At HAUS SNOB Music, that's HAUSSNOB Music on Instagram. And Tell Your Lover and the All-Time EP, both on streaming right now. So look up HAUS SNOB.
Let's go.
Check out those singles.
Let's go.
How was the Love Shack for you?
I had so much fun there with you guys. It was ridiculous. I didn't know what to expect. And then it was just, the crowd was awesome. The fact that I know when I play for you guys, I can kind of just really do my own thing. I'm not stuck to super popular stuff, I can play some real house, I can mix it up. So I had a blast there. It was great.
I mean, and there was you could have played whatever you wanted because the crowd, there was a lot of people there just to see you. A lot of you people came out.
They really did. Yes. Shout out to all my people that came through that day because that was amazing. That means the most to me. I'm always super surprised that, I don't expect that ever. So it's great.
No, that's great. And then, so that was in February. It's June now. How's your year been so far?
Oh my God, wild. I feel like I haven't played as many shows as I did last year, but I've been traveling a lot. I went to San Jose. I went to San Diego. I've just been all over the place. So that's been really nice. I've been a little more selective just because I really wanted to focus on making music this year. And so it's worked out because I've already released quite a few songs and I've got some more coming out soon. So I'm excited about that. And it was nice to have a little bit of a break, jamming all those shows last year, really took a toll. So I was let's slow it down a bit and really focus on the music because that's really what people want to hear anyway,
How many shows did you do last year, do you think?
God, probably, I think it was which is not going to sound like a lot to someone else, but maybe close to 30. It was just nonstop. I feel like every weekend there was something, and even in the weekdays and stuff like that. So trying to make music and maintain that schedule was kind of a lot, just because I'm still very much learning when I'm making music. I don't feel seasoned at all whatsoever. So it takes a lot. I'm okay. And just like anybody else, I run into blocks where I'm I can't make it. And everything's sounding awful right now, so.
And I'm sure that as a person that enjoys music, you're well, this has got to be perfect.
Yeah, right? Exactly. No, definitely.
Well, that's where you are now, a big on-demand DJ making tracks. But how did you even get started?
I have been obsessed with music my entire life. My dad was a DJ, but he was the backyard party DJ. So there was no the grid or anything like that. It was 2 Discmen and a mixer. You know what I mean? Just kind of off ear, going wild.
Just setting the vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
Much.
So, he had his setup in the living room, and I would go and I would play, and I loved it. I would be there for hours. And I also played guitar, so I've always just, like I said, been into music. He was constantly playing music as I was growing up, every day. So
what kind of music?
A little bit of everything. So that's why I have such an eclectic sound and background when it comes to it. I mean, he loves classic rock, he loves oldies, Spanish music, house, tech, literally everything. Everything. He introduced me to death metal, just everything.
Nice.
So which I was a big metalhead before I was a house head. Okay. So so growing up in that environment really led me to playing guitar. I was in one band, I think, and I was always really shy. So it's funny that I am who I am on stage now because I'm that is not, never would have thought.
Where did that person come from?
I have no idea who she is still to this day.
Hey, but then again, I feel it just builds over time. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
It's been in the background for so long growing up.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know,
it's just second nature now. Yeah.
You just express it because it's in your background. No matter what it might be. It could be some funk, it could be some rock, it could be some hip hop, it could be some
Japanese
cumbia.
funk, whatever.
There we go.
Anything that sounds I tell people all the time, I'm it could be banjo music. I don't care if I like it, then I like it, and that's all I care about. So, which kind of sucks now because now doing what we do, you kind of get thrown into these categories, or you kind of do have to cater to these crowds and what's popular and stuff. Which is awful because I'm man, I love everything though, so I'm constantly searching for collectives and crews where I can be expressive and kind of a little more free. That's why I love playing for you guys. Or I'm I could probably throw on some flashbacks right now and nobody would care right now in this room. You know what I mean? So That's always fun.
That's what it is about like platforms like ours or like Tropicasa or like Soundtech. Like the people that are there, they're there to enjoy the music and they're cheering for the person that's doing it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So shout out to everybody, all the other platforms.
Yes,
too.
absolutely.
So you still, you grew up around that world, but how did you decide like, okay, this is my moment? And then how did your first gig go?
It's funny because, like I said, I was always super shy, so I'm not even sure I would have ever made the move into it. It was kind of like the people around me going like, "This is all you do all day. You're making playlists. You're every time we're at a party, you're the one putting the music on. You're constantly putting us on to new stuff. So like, why aren't you you could be doing this?" And I was like, "Oh no. And finally, my dad was like, "I got you a controller," and I was like, "What? Okay." And then even my little brother, he had worked at a pawn shop, and he's like, "I got you a computer," and it came with like a little like Novation pad, and it had Ableton. So it was like everybody just kind of, and I was like, okay, now I can't let them down, I've got to do this. Yeah. So I'm like, they believe in me, I'm gonna have to believe in myself. I guess
supporting the dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even if it wasn't like, let's say like if it wasn't a dream, it still was something where like, people are pushing it like, you can do this.
Yeah. And I had always wanted to, I just never had the guts to do it. So it was nice to see that other people were like, no, you can do this. So yeah. And then as soon as I started, like, it was like second nature. I was just like, oh man, I'm like pretty good at, I already have, like, when I first started, oh my God, I would stand in front of those decks for hours. I mean, hours to the point where my neck and my back were hurting, and I was like, "Wait, I just need one more transition."
That's so
did it feel good when you like locked in and you're like, "Oh, this is what I want to do"?
Yes, because even as I saw myself, yes, because I never had anything, I think, in life where I felt that way. So I was like, "Oh wow, this is great!" Like I had found a purpose. Basically, I think I would have just been lost had I not found music and been able to DJ and create even. And I did it simultaneously, so that was a little bit hard. I had to realize, okay, you kind of got to focus on one, and then we can kind of move to the other, because trying to learn to produce is an insane thing in itself.
Yeah,
and then
for sure.
On top of the DJing. So I kind of put that to the side and was like, let me focus on the DJing, because this is coming a lot quicker than that other,
Yeah.
And then that took off. And it was crazy because before I was even good enough, people were hitting me up like, do you want to do play? And I was really, like, I didn't take the gigs. I was like, no, I'm not ready, and I'm not trying to let you down, And they were like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, no, because I care about, like, your event and the vibe and what I'm putting out there. So then I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm ready. And so it was cool because those opportunities were still available, and it kind of just took off from there. Wow. So yeah, I've been really lucky with that. People coming to me and not me having to like search for those things. So shout out to everybody.
But I should tell you a thing. It's like you're standing out. Of course, people are like, pass the aux, pass the aux to her, because she knows what she's doing.
I appreciate it. It means the world. I don't see myself like that. So I'm like, okay, this is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But okay, so one thing that I've been curious of, which is so dope to me, how did you come up with the name House Snob?
So there's like a couple of things. One, my thing was when I first started, I had noticed, like, okay, so when I first started, I've always liked classic house. Like, I didn't really grow up in this era now where it's popular, and it's, there's tech house and all this stuff. It was like raw stuff, like, and stuff that was probably nobody knows of still. I like songs that sound like a run-on sentence, like, I don't even need a break. Funny. Like, let me just like write this beat all night. So, I saw right away once I started like hearing what was kind of popular, or what like the younger kids liked. I was like, oh yeah, no, I don't like that. So I was like, I'm kind of a snob about this, So I was like, well, I'm a house snob,
That's cool, man. Because literally, like, and I've told people this before. It's like the first time I saw you. Shout out again to Tropicasa, like. A shout out to the homies,
homies over there.
The first time I ever saw you, and maybe I had even heard of you before, but when I first saw you play, I was like, whoa, House Snob's going to be there. Let's go.
Awesome.
Pulled up, man, dude. And I was like, that name is just so dope. Like, I've always wondered, like, how the heck did you get that name?
And the spelling was because I was always told that I was part German. I don't even think I am. But so like I was like, okay, how do we,
House.
Yeah, exactly.
I got you. Okay.
I was a big Rammstein fan, so
That makes sense.
Okay.
All the influences are starting to come together. I can see it now.
Yeah.
So how did your DJing change over the years, would you say?
Oh man. Well, I started off as an open format DJ, which I loved, and I miss it so much. Granted, when I'm in that world now, I'm like, this is not my world. It's like I feel a little bit, yeah. And just because the house scene has been so welcoming, and I feel like I'm really good at that, which I was pretty darn awesome at open format as well. But, it's just different. Like as soon as I started playing house and tech house, that's where really a lot of the opportunities came at the clubs and stuff.
Right.
With open format, it was more like I was doing bars and backyard parties and stuff like that, which is totally fun. But as soon as I found CDJs and like those other events and festivals, I was like, okay, wait, this is where it's at. This is a whole nother vibe. Yeah. For sure. So doing the open format though, I lately I've been offered some things, and sometimes I'll pick them up still, just because I miss it so much, and I feel like I could get a lot more creative. I can go from R&B to disco to house, and like it still be flawless. And sometimes I almost want to like slam that on these house crowds.
Just to see what happens. React.
Just see how they react. But I'm like, I'll wait till I get to a certain point and then I'll do it.
No, but even then, like, to be honest, like when I've, to hearing your sets, like I feel like you do kind of include that kind of stuff,
Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah.
You play different edits and you play like certain, it could be a rock, like quick little rock edit, and then it goes back into, some tech house.
That's awesome that you noticed that.
Very accessible, I would say.
Yeah.
No, it's dope, and it's good that you do that, because at the end of the day, that's what really connects to people. Because if like you play something that is gonna connect to someone, whether it be, I don't know, you could play some System of a Down, and then it goes into the tech edit, and
definitely.
People will be like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, there's always
back
someone in the room.
It's tight.
No, for sure.
It's good that you do that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so like you said, you DJ'd all over California, all over the place this year. Anything crazy happened this year so far? There was a Joshua Tree gig too, right?
Oh yeah, that was really awesome. That was a great experience.
Early morning.
Yeah. I had the early morning, so a lot of people by that time are a little they're already sleeping. It was a light crowd for me.
They had one eye open.
Yeah, exactly. But that was, literally, as I was playing, I was like, it was the most beautiful background I had ever seen in my life. I mean, it was surreal. The sky was blue. The sun was coming up. There's just mountains, and there's nobody. There's no reception out there. Like you were really just kind of in the moment. So that was a really great experience. Actually, I really had a lot of fun doing that.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cold as fuck though. yeah. Like it was freezing.
What month was that? Like a couple months ago,
God.
no? Like,
I think it was March 16th. Yeah.
That's in the desert.
I mean, I was bundled up, and I was still like, oh my god. I was like trying to DJ with one hand. Like,
hand warmers up in that bitch.
I should have. I didn't bring any. That was a mistake of mine.
So now when somebody, like when you're getting ready for an event, how do you prepare a set?
So I'm pretty crazy and tedious. Like, I feel like, I know a lot of people get up there and they're just playing on the fly, pulling whatever. I really love to plan out. Like, as soon as somebody tells me I'm playing, I'm like, okay, what's the vibe? What's the demographic? Like, all of it. What does the place look like? What's the lighting? Like, I want to know it all, just because.
Didn't you say that, Mondo? You're like, when I asked House Snob to do the event, like she asked me a bunch of questions about it. And
and I always go back to some people, like it rubs them the wrong way. I think you were super awesome. You were like this and this, and other people are like, why are you asking all this? I'm like, because for me, it's almost like I'm trying to create an experience, you know. I don't feel like just a DJ. I do feel like an artist, and the way people react to me, even more so once I started seeing that, I was like, okay, cool. I'm obviously doing something right, or you guys are digging what I'm trying to, give out. So, and I like everything to be different, I want it to be as flawless as possible, obviously, because I'm a perfectionist. But so I'll usually ask all those questions, and then I'll pull a ton of songs, and then just kind of like, it doesn't necessarily have to be. I always do know what I'm going to open with and probably what I'm going to close with. In between, I'll kind of like mix it up. But for the most part, I like to know what I'm going to do. I have an idea. I get, I'll get an idea and then I'm pretty stuck to it. It's never done me wrong. Everybody's like, oh, you got to read the crowd. I'm like, yes, but in my experience, I usually have an idea. It's like me painting a picture, and if I don't stray from that, I've never had somebody go, "Oh, that was an awful set." Like people are usually always still really reactive to it. So I'm like, "Cool, like I'm gonna keep doing this because the moment I play on the fly, then maybe I don't get that reaction, or and it's just about making people happy or." Exposing them to different things that I feel like other DJs aren't exposing them to. So it's more about that than necessarily sounding perfect.
Have you ever, or I'm pretty sure you have, but ever like winged a set and then like at the end of it you're like, damn, that shit was good.
Yes.
And you're like, wait, what song went with what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And I'm like, ooh, there was a lull there. I didn't like that transition. That was a stupid decision. Like, so that's stressful.
But then there's days where you're like, damn, that was so sick. Yes. Like, how did I do that?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And then I couldn't even come back and tell you how I did it. So I was like, oh man.
yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
So like you mentioned earlier, like now you are DJing all the time as often as you can. You're trying to do music production. How do you balance all that in your current life?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I don't even know sometimes. Like I feel like it just happens. So, I know a lot of people have like a set. They're like, oh, I'm going to do this for X amount of hours and this and this. I've always worked off just vibes, like, whatever I feel, because if I don't feel it, then I can't force it, regardless of me trying to be disciplined or whatever. Like I have got to feel it, like, or else it's just not going to work. And especially like when I'm on stage, I think that's why I am the way I am up there. Cause like people, I tend to play a lot of different music every time. Like there was, for the first 3 years, I never repeated a song in any set.
For 3 years?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And which was crazy on my bank account, but also, shout out Beatport and SoundCloud for those amazing free edits. The free downloads, man, are where it's at. I've had so many successes with just those free downloads, and then I'll go and spend a ton of money on Beatport, and I'm like, Dan, I still go back to my free downloads. I'm like, ugh. So, but yeah, like, and so finally now this year has been the first year where I really was like, okay, you need to work with what you already have and maybe start just repeating some stuff, because then I miss out. Like sometimes there'll be a really good song, I'll get it, it'll end up taking off, and then once it takes off, I don't want to play it anymore. I'm kind of like weird like that, and I'm like, okay, but that's not true. But even though if I play it, it gets a huge reaction, but I'm like,
anybody could do this.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I don't want. Like I was always really trying to like give you something you had never heard, that you didn't know you loved. So,
but trying to create that experience every single time that you DJ, that's not easy.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. So, and even this year, like I said, I started. There's a few tracks where I'm like, okay, I just love this so much, I am going to start throwing it in the majority of my sets. But it's like 1 or 2 tracks. Like it's still not like the majority of my library. So I'm like, okay, I'm still staying pretty true to what I was doing before. But you might hear 1 or 2 tracks a lot more. And now that I have my own tracks, you're going to hear those a lot more, But still, like I apply the same rule. I always feel like, oh, like, I already played this, and I'm like, but it's yours. You're fine. You're fine.
Exactly.
You want to promote your own stuff.
and that's what's good, because it's like, as an artist at this point, it's like you need to put that stuff out there, and that's what makes your sound different from everybody else. You're just like, okay, people are like, oh man, that shit was dope. First time hearing you, oh shit, that shit was dope.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's the one thing. Like I used to beat myself up because with my production, because I love so many different styles, I don't have like a signature sound, which I know is what a lot of people are like. That's the first thing they'll tell you, is you kind of need to like get a sound and stick with it. And I'm like, that's not gonna happen. Sorry, which is fine. Yeah, which is totally fine. Like it may hold me back, like from getting in a certain group or circle, but that's never been my aim. Cool. So I really don't care, to tell you the truth. So I have a Latin tech song. I have, a house song. I have something that's a little more group. Like I have a little bit of everything. So it kind of works because I play so many different styles, I have something I can kind of pull at least one or, like one song for everything. So that's really worked out in my favor. And I like that. So.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're having fun and it's still fun for you, that will reflect with the crowd and they'll bring the energy back most of the time, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I played a lot of my own tracks at the Love Shack, actually. And that was the first time where I was like, this is really awesome. This feels great, you know? Because I felt like because I could be so eclectic with you guys, I was like, well, I could do this. And like I did like 3, I think, of my own tracks. And I was like, okay, that was a lot. Yeah.
No, and we timed it so you would have like the prime spot. So you would have like the crowd, right?
Yeah,
And it was awesome.
I appreciate it. It was so awesome. It was awesome. Yeah. I was hella hungover the next day.
Same.
Fighting for my life.
So yeah, like you said, you DJ'd all over here. How is the industry itself? Do you think it could be more inclusive for people of all types?
Absolutely. Even with me, like having a lot of success and having, like, I'm really grateful too because a lot of different style of collective, like that was one thing I was told a lot when I first started was like, you need to pick a lane where people are going to not know how to book you. And I was like, it's not going to happen. Like, I love everything. Like, and I want to be able to play everything. So my thing was just like, I'm just going to keep posting videos of myself doing different stuff, you know? And it worked out in my favor. I mean, even this year alone, I've done a techno set. I've done I've done a house set, obviously. I've done tech house, Latin tech, disco, you know? So I'm like, this is great. Because regardless of my name, like I was always like, oh, no one's going to book me for a techno set with the HAUS SNOB name, you know? But it's a lie. Like they see that I'm capable of doing it. And so I've been lucky in that sense. But as for them being more inclusive, I feel like, it's hard. It is a big popularity contest out there, which is frustrating. And although I've been invited in, I'm like, I still don't like that vibe, you know. I still always really try to connect with the collectives that are a little just more inclusive, you know. Like if you're one style, like that's great, and you want to have me, awesome. Like I'm totally here for you, but I don't love it, you know. Like I love when people want to have a little bit of everything. I'm not a big fan of, you know what I kind of do hate is all female lineups. I don't know. I know, which is funny because people love, and it's super popular now. Yeah. But I just feel like book the ladies because they're good. Don't book us because you want
call it
ladies. Yeah, you know what I mean. And I wish I saw more ladies that were just good and less ladies in bustiers. Like, you know, I feel like that's a big thing right now. You know, they want you to look a certain way. Yeah. And I've always been like, that's not me. I'm going to show up in my t-shirt and jeans. So if you want me,
I'm still going to kill it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So. You know, but as the scene becomes more commercialized, we're going to see more of that. So you just kind of like got to figure out where you want to be and what gigs you want to take. I'm not sure that's something we're ever going to really fix. It's just about like collectives like you guys, you know, keep on doing what you're doing, booking everybody because of other reasons. And that's where the rest of us will kind of align.
Yeah, I think people are more attracted to what's organic, and I think we try to do that, and we try to promote people that are like that.
Yes.
So, you know.
Oh, I love it. That's why I love you guys.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the production side of it. You have these what went into the making of the new singles that just came out?
Oh man, so you know what's so funny with Tell Your Lover and All the Time? It was one of those things where I didn't like force it at all. Like a lot of my other tracks, I feel like I was like, okay, how do I get stuff that people are going to want to hear or that I can even play live, right? With those two, like they just happened. It was one of those things where I just sat down and I was like, I'm just going to make something that I like to hear. And they really just, they flowed. Like immediately it was just like, bam, bam, bam. It just kind of happened. And when I finished them, I was kind of like, with both of those, like, I'm not sure these are going to have a home anywhere. You know what I mean? Which is fine with me. It was more about me enjoying it as a listener, not even as a DJ playing them. I was just like, I really like hearing these tracks. So, and it was crazy because I put them out myself. And then both of them, I had labels reach out to me later on after I had already released them. And they're like, hey, we like this, you know? And I was like, oh, okay, great. Like, nice. You know, like, yeah. So that felt really great. And when I play like chiller sets, like I did a pool party at Sky Bar and at SLS, and I got to play those tracks. So I was like, cool, like it does have a space, you know, and real house heads have, man, those two tracks I've gotten so much feedback on, like from people that I really respect, you know, not even just like tech house heads or whatever, it's not
yeah.
those guys hitting me up like, hey, I would love this track. It's like people where I'm like, okay, real recognize, like I see what you're playing and you obviously see what I'm doing over here. So that was really nice because I didn't think anybody was even gonna fuck with those tracks. To tell you the
Real
truth.
house shit.
Yeah.
People, yeah.
And they were from the heart, like I'm a big sap. I'm a lover girl. So
Hey.
those lyrics, like
you're. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you said Sag. I was like, you're a
no,
Sagittarius
I'm an
too.
Aries, baby.
Okay. I was like, wait, you're a Sagittarius too? Like, okay,
No, I'm a
cool.
fire sign, so
All right.
but I'm a big softie. I'm a big, I love love. So
Yeah.
with those lyrics, as soon as I had found them, I was like, oh wait, hold on, these are mine. Like I'm taking these, and I had never heard anyone else use them. So which was even greater because I know a lot of people are using the same stuff. With Splice, it's hard right now. Like everybody's kind of grabbing the same shit.
Yeah.
But with those, I really like dug deep. So I was like, okay, this is where it's at right here. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So if you search House Snob on all streaming, you can find those singles. All the Time also has a remix on there as well.
Yes. Oh, yes. Somebody reached out to me and wanted to do a remix, and he's got a lot of I love UK garage, and so I don't ever get to even play a lot of it, but I just really love it personally. And so somebody had reached out to me. And he was like, I'd love to remix this. And I was like, do it, my guy, So he did. And I was so surprised and so in love what the outcome was. So that was super fun. Yeah, you can find it on Spotify. You can find it on Apple, everything, basically. Nice. Yeah.
All right, so you were nice enough to do a mix for us that we're going to be playing soon up here on the radio, and people can watch it on YouTube if they haven't seen it, if they miss any of it. Before we get to that, I have one more question, and then 60 seconds with. So you've done so much this year. What are you looking forward to doing?
Oh, I'm looking forward to, hopefully finally getting on a festival, even if it's a smaller stage. But just kind of moving past the gigs I've been taking. That would be really great to kind of get on the bigger stage. I did get to do, I think it was. God, I don't want to mix it up, but I got to play for Space Yacht, which is awesome. Yeah. And being obviously in front of that many people is a great. It's a vibe, and that was such a great show. The energy of that crowd was so amazing. So stuff like that, obviously, is really where it's at. And I even opened, and the crowd was crazy and fat. Nice. So yeah, I mean, when I play Lick and Dip and stuff like that too, there's a ton of people there, and so. That, I mean, obviously everybody loves those shows, but especially for me, because I can really feed off their energy and they feed off mine. So it's a big difference. I can really do my thing, Nice.
Yeah, I mean, continued success. You're just going to keep evolving and growing, and it's been, fun to follow you, for as long as we have. And thank you for doing the events for us.
Oh my God, anytime, anytime.
All right, before we play the mix, we have the speed round of questions. First thing that comes to mind. This is 60 seconds with. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, 60 seconds with House Snob on D. Rodriguez.
She ready.
All right, favorite cartoon character.
Jiminy Cricket.
Favorite song right now.
That's a hard one. You're gonna stump me. I don't know. I listen to the same shit all the time.
It's okay. What would describe you when you were a kid?
Nash skateboard.
Do you have a hidden talent?
No.
Indica, sativa, or hybrid?
Hybrid.
Name of your best friend in high school.
Oh my God, I didn't have best friends. I'm a loner.
Ah, dang.
I know.
First song you illegally downloaded.
Oh my God. Okay. It was probably something from 9 Inch Nails off of Napster.
Nice.
Yeah.
Favorite movie?
Ooh, that's hard. The Labyrinth.
Rapping Drake or R&B Drake? No Drake?
Let's say R&B Drake. I'm a lover girl.
Early 2000s hip hop or early 2010s hip hop?
Ooh, early 2000s.
Nice. Spotify, Apple Music, or Tidal?
Spotify, unfortunately.
And your favorite thing about music?
Oh, the way it makes me feel.
And that was 60 seconds with House Snob on D. Rodriguez Show.
Let's go.
All right. Well, they can follow you at House Snob Music. That's HAUSSNOBMUSIC. Yes, that's exactly. I was like, did I get it right?
I know. I was like, no, K.
And if you're watching the video, you can see it on the screen. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Is there anything you wanted to say about the mix that we were going to play right now? You recorded.
I had a great time playing that because I really came a lot groovier for you guys with that. I played a lot of Real House. I don't think there's any tech house in it really. it was a great time. Yeah.
Nice.
I hope you guys enjoy it.
All right. This is an hour. Yeah, an hour right now with House Snob on The Rodriguez Show.